What if I told you that Earth may not just be a planet for human existence, but a complex trap for souls? For centuries, religions and spiritual doctrines have hinted at a cosmic purpose for our existence here, yet some suppressed beliefs suggest a much darker truth. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most controversial and ancient theories that suggest God might be keeping souls on Earth for a reason, one that's been hidden from the masses and even banned by the church. So buckle up as we unveil what ancient texts reveal about our true purpose and why you might be more trapped than free. The stolen soul, this idea, isn't just some abstract philosophy. It's a bold challenge to everything we've been taught about life, our souls, and what truth really means. So, what does the origin of the world, this ancient Gnostic text, actually say? It's a text banned by the church and left out of the Bible, and it turns our understanding of creation completely upside down. The Gnostics believed that when our souls entered this world, something crucial was taken from us, the very knowledge of who we truly are and where we come from. And here's the mind-blowing part: this wasn't an accident. According to Gnostic teachings, the world we live in isn't a gift from a loving God. It's a carefully constructed trap set by a lesser god called the Demiurge. The Demiurge's mission? To keep us blind, ignorant, and, most importantly, obedient. Now, when we're talking about the Demiurge, we're not talking about some minor figure in mythology. The Demiurge is portrayed as the very architect of the physical world, a powerful being, but flawed, with an ego that craves worship and control. Unlike the loving creator many believe in, the Gnostics saw the Demiurge as more of a cunning warden, a jailer who has trapped us here in this material existence. This entity doesn't want us to know our own origins, let alone give us a chance to break free. So, what's the strategy of this cosmic thief? The Demiurge didn't just create the physical world to imprison us. According to the Gnostics, it went a step further, erasing our memories, stealing our divine identity, and replacing it with fear, desire, and an endless thirst for material things. They believed that when we came into this world, we were stripped of gnosis, a deep, innate knowledge of the divine realm we originated from. Without this knowledge, we're like amnesiacs, wandering through life trying to fill a void we don't fully understand. This idea suggests that all the things we chase, success, possessions, recognition, are just distractions, keeping us from the truth of who we are. Status and validation? Just distractions carefully designed to keep us trapped in a cycle, searching for meaning in things that never truly satisfy. Think about it. Why does nothing ever seem to be enough? Why is it that even after reaching our dreams, so many of us still feel hollow, like something crucial is missing? The Gnostics believed it's because our souls were meant for something far greater, but that understanding was stolen from us. And here's where it gets even more unsettling. According to the Gnostics, the Demiurge didn't just trap us in this physical world, it also gave us bodies a brilliant yet sinister design choice. Our bodies are like anchors, tying us down with pain, pleasure, and endless needs: hunger, sleep, lust, fear. These are the chains that keep us locked in survival mode rather than seeking enlightenment. It's a 24/7 distraction factory. How much of our lives are spent just catering to the body's demands? The Gnostics believed that was no accident. They thought the body was crafted specifically to keep us from glimpsing our true origin. Now, this may sound bleak, but according to Gnostic thought, it isn't hopeless. There is a way out, and it's called Gnosis knowledge. But here's the twist. This knowledge isn't about reading books or following a guru. It's not about digging up some hidden scroll buried in the desert. Gnosis is about a direct inner realization of the divine truth that's been hidden from us. It's a remembering, a recognition of who we truly are, beyond the physical world, beyond the lies, beyond the manipulation of the Demiurge. If this knowledge is the escape route, it's no surprise that it's been suppressed for centuries. The idea that we could wake up and escape this prison is a real threat to any authority that benefits from keeping us asleep. Texts like The Origin of the World and other Gnostic writings were declared heretical, hunted down, and erased from mainstream teachings. Why? Because they dared to suggest that the world as we know it is a prison. Our bodies are the bars, and those in power have every reason to keep it that way. So what are we left with? A world meticulously designed to keep us blind to our true nature. A world ruled by an entity whose very survival depends on our ignorance. And a banned, hidden text that offers us a tantalizing glimpse of a truth that could change everything if we dare to see it. No wonder it was banned. Why else would the church work so hard to bury it? To keep this knowledge hidden, powerful forces worked to suppress texts like The Origin of the World, the Gospel of Thomas, and the Gospel of Mary. These weren't just minor writings. They were labeled as heretical, seized, and erased from mainstream teachings for centuries. And why? Why? Because these texts offer a perspective on God, humanity, and the soul's purpose that could shake the very foundation of traditional beliefs. These banned texts reveal a version of God that's almost unrecognizable from the conventional view. They peel back layers of authority and power structures that seem designed to keep humanity in the loop of ignorance and submission. From a Gnostic perspective, organized religion isn't merely about worshiping a divine creator. It's a system that reinforces the prison of the material world, binding people to cycles of dependency, guilt, and fear. Imagine if people began to embrace the Gnostic belief that each of us carries a spark of the divine, a hidden truth that connects us to a reality beyond this world. It would fundamentally challenge religious institutions as the gatekeepers to God, and it would empower individuals to seek truth directly without relying on intermediaries. That's the kind of shift that would turn the whole concept of spiritual authority on its head. Imagine a world where we no longer need intermediaries, rituals, or dogmas to connect with the divine. Power thrives on control, especially control over access to truth. By removing the Gnostic idea of a hidden, unknowable God beyond the demiurge's creation, the entire structure of external salvation crumbles. Gnostic texts propose that each person has the ability to connect to this hidden divine realm through gnosis, or inner knowledge. That's a direct threat to any institution whose power relies on convincing people they need to earn salvation through obedience and external mediation. The church didn't just overlook these texts, it actively hunted them down, destroyed them, and branded their followers as heretics. It was a calculated move. By monopolizing what was deemed sacred, the church could shape a singular narrative, one that placed an all-powerful deity at the top and left humanity in a position of obedience at the bottom. Any alternative worldview that suggested divine autonomy or hinted that people could awaken to their true nature outside this rigid hierarchy, it was dangerous. It offered individuals the radical idea that they could access the truth within themselves without needing permission or validation from a higher authority. And that was something the establishment simply couldn't allow. The system had to be dismantled. The burning of Gnostic texts, the persecution of Gnostic communities, these weren't random acts of repression. They were deliberate efforts to control the narrative, to create a monopoly on spiritual truth. If you can convince people that salvation only comes through an external authority, they stay loyal, fearful, and ultimately controllable. This isn't just a tale about ancient texts and theological battles. It's a story about power. These banned ideas weren't erased because they were false. They were erased because they were dangerous. They questioned authority, promoted self-empowerment, and dared to suggest that divinity isn't a privilege reserved for the few. At the top, it's a birthright for everyone. Now, let's dive into the concept of the divine trap. This idea doesn't just reshape how we see the world, it makes it impossible to ignore. The Gnostics described the material world not as a paradise, but as a prison, meticulously designed to keep souls locked in an endless cycle of birth and bondage. It's a structure not meant to liberate us, but to keep us bound, a construct crafted to prevent us from realizing the true freedom of our divine origins. This cycle of death and rebirth isn't just symbolic, it's an endless loop designed to keep us busy chasing things that ultimately mean nothing. We're constantly hunting for meaning, status, relationships, possessions. But Gnostic thinkers believe these pursuits are traps, distractions crafted to keep us from recognizing our true divine origin. Let's break down how this trap functions in Gnostic thought. This isn't about punishment or some divine test, as mainstream theology might suggest. It's about control and containment. The material world is full of desires, needs, and suffering, all of which pull our focus outward. When we're endlessly preoccupied with satisfying basic needs or craving more, there's no time or mental space to question the reality of our existence. And that's the real brilliance of this trap. It's not a prison of bars, but a cycle of distractions that feel like freedom, but are anything but. Think about how much of our lives are devoted to pursuits that, in the end, only keep us anchored to the physical world. Our bodies, with their constant demands of hunger, pain, and pleasure, act as perfect tethers. We're locked in a cycle, striving for satisfaction in a world that, by design, can never truly fulfill us. According to the Gnostics, the whole setup is an elaborate trick to keep the soul so entangled in the material world that it forgets it's even trapped. But why would anyone design such a system? In the Gnostic view, as long as we're fixated on this endless cycle, we're unable to connect with our own divine spark, our gnosis. This inner knowledge, this awakening to our true nature, is the one thing that could set us free. And that's precisely why it's buried under layers of physical and emotional distraction. Every part of this system, from the demands of our bodies to the structures of society, feeds into the trap. We're raised to value success, relationships, and material wealth, taught to believe these are the signs of a fulfilling life. But what if those achievements are actually the bars of our cage? It's not just our physical bodies that bind us. It's the entire culture built around reinforcing the idea that fulfillment is always something external, always just out of reach. Now, let's talk about the demiurge, the so-called architect of this material world. This is where it gets even more intense. The Gnostics didn't see this being as a benevolent creator. The idea that souls are trapped on Earth isn't just some modern conspiracy theory. It originates from ancient Gnostic texts, particularly on the origin of the world. Gnosticism, an ancient belief system, challenges traditional religious narratives by suggesting that the physical world is a creation of a lesser deity, a figure often known as the demiurge. According to these texts, the demiurge created the physical realm to keep souls bound and ignorant of their true divine nature. Followers believed that the soul is a divine spark, imprisoned within human form, meant to experience repeated lifetimes here on Earth until it can finally awaken and escape. The Church saw Gnostic teachings as a major threat. Early Christian leaders believed that if people were aware of this hidden truth, it could challenge the very foundations of organized religion. In response, they labeled these teachings heretical and attempted to eradicate them. The idea that God might not be the all-loving creator who offers salvation, but rather a captor of souls, went directly against the teachings that the Church wanted to spread. So, over time, texts like On the Origin of the World were banned, and followers were persecuted. Despite this, fragments of these teachings survived, leading many today to question if there's more to Earth and our souls than we were led to believe. Reincarnation often brings comfort, the idea that we get another chance to learn, to grow. But in Gnostic thought, reincarnation is not a gift, it's a trap. By keeping souls cycling through earthly lives, the demiurge ensures that they remain confined to the physical plane, endlessly repeating experiences. This cycle, often called samsara in Eastern traditions, is described in Gnostic texts as the soul's prison. Here, life after life, the soul experiences limited perception, unable to recognize its true nature or find its way back to the divine source. This concept has led some to believe that enlightenment is the only way out, a way to break free from the physical world. Fast forward to modern times, and we see a world more attached to materialism and distractions than ever before. Some theorists argue that the distractions of the modern world, money, technology, social media, are intentional tools to keep us focused on the material and not the spiritual. This idea goes hand in hand with the Gnostic belief that the physical realm is designed to divert attention away from the soul's divine purpose. As we are surrounded by these distractions, the soul remains asleep, forgetting its spiritual roots and staying attached to the earthly plane. Is it a coincidence or part of a greater cosmic design to keep us trapped? Despite these traps, Gnostic teachings emphasize that the soul has the power to break free. Awakening, enlightenment, or Gnosis, direct knowledge of the divine, is the key to escape. By looking inward and connecting with a higher consciousness, Gnostics believe we can transcend the physical world. Practices like meditation, introspection, and rejecting material desires are all steps on this path. Many spiritual leaders and mystics suggest that only by knowing one's true self beyond physical existence can the soul overcome the traps set by the demiurge and move closer to the divine source. The question remains, are you ready to seek the truth and free your soul? According to ancient texts, the journey of the soul begins with a descent into the physical world, where it loses its connection to its divine origins. The Gnostics believed that this descent is part of the demiurge's design, forcing the soul into a cycle of forgetfulness. Once in a human body, the soul's memories of its divine essence are veiled, making it easier for it to be manipulated and controlled by material desires and physical needs. It's as if each soul is born with a kind of spiritual amnesia, trapped in a body that prioritizes survival over spiritual awakening. Why do we experience suffering if we're divine beings? Some theories suggest that suffering is a tool designed to keep souls focused on the material plane. When we are preoccupied with pain, struggle, and survival, it's harder to access higher states of consciousness. The Gnostics believed that suffering was a mechanism of control, keeping us anchored to the physical world. However, others argue that suffering could also be a wake-up call, a way to make souls question their existence and look for answers beyond the physical realm. The serpent is one of the most controversial symbols in ancient texts. While many traditions view it as a symbol of evil, the Gnostics saw it differently. In their view, the serpent represents knowledge and awakening, challenging the demiurge's authority. For example, in the story of Eden, the serpent encourages Adam and Eve to seek knowledge, which is essentially a path to freedom from ignorance. This symbolizes the Gnostic belief that true knowledge is the key to escaping the trap of the physical realm and connecting with the divine. In Gnostic thought, archons are entities that serve the demiurge, acting as guardians of the material realm. They keep souls distracted and fearful, creating barriers that prevent spiritual awakening. Archons are seen as agents who enforce the illusions of the physical world. Their influence can manifest as societal pressures, desires, or even personal doubts. By keeping us focused on the material, they hinder the soul's journey toward enlightenment. Are these forces mere metaphors, or could they represent an unseen influence over human consciousness? If the soul is trapped in a cycle, can we truly have free will? Gnostic teachings propose that what we perceive as free will might actually be a controlled environment, where choices are heavily influenced by the demiurge's design. From the circumstances of our birth to the obstacles we face, every element seems crafted to keep us bound to earthly desires and challenges. In this view, awakening involves seeing through the illusion of choice and understanding that true freedom lies beyond the material realm. Dreams have always fascinated humanity, often seen as a bridge between the material and spiritual worlds. Gnostics believed that dreams could be a glimpse of the soul's true existence, moments when we are freed from the demiurge's control. During sleep, our consciousness might escape the body's limitations, allowing us to experience higher truths. However, upon waking, most people forget these glimpses, remaining anchored to their physical lives. The question remains, are our dreams trying to remind us of a reality beyond this world? Meditation is one of the oldest practices for awakening the soul. By quieting the mind, individuals can access higher states of awareness, tapping into knowledge buried deep within. Gnostic teachings promote practices like meditation as pathways to gnosis, or knowledge of the divine. They believed that through meditation, souls could weaken the grip of the physical world and glimpse their divine nature. Could this ancient practice be the key to breaking free from the earthly cycle? The Gnostics placed immense importance on the sacred feminine, representing wisdom and intuitive knowledge. They believed that reconnecting with the sacred feminine energy was crucial for achieving spiritual liberation. In Gnostic myths, figures like Sophia, the embodiment of divine wisdom, serve as guides for the soul, leading it back to its true source. By embracing both masculine and feminine energies, Gnostics taught that one could achieve balance, helping the soul to transcend earthly illusions. Nature has long been considered a teacher of spiritual truths. Gnostics believed that nature held clues to the divine essence within all beings. By observing the cycles of life, death, and rebirth, one could gain insight into the soul's journey. Many teachings suggest that spending time in nature can help one transcend material concerns, as nature's simplicity and beauty remind us of the interconnectedness of all things. In a way, nature might be one of the few aspects of the material world that connects us back to the divine. Welcome to Blessovia Science TV, where we take you on an exhilarating journey through the cosmos and unravel the mysteries of science. We are excited to offer you the opportunity to become a valued member of our ever-growing community of cosmic enthusiasts and knowledge seekers. Exclusive access to cosmic content. As a member of Blessovia Science TV, you will gain exclusive access to a treasure trove of cosmic content, including documentaries, interviews with leading scientists, space missions updates, and awe-inspiring visualizations of the universe, live Q, and sessions with experts. Your membership will grant you the chance to participate in live Q and sessions with renowned scientists, astronomers, and space explorers. Get your burning questions answered by those who push the boundaries of human knowledge. Embark on a journey that spans the cosmos and join us in unraveling the secrets of the universe. Become a Blessovia Science TV member today, and together we will reach for the stars. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, and share. Don't forget to leave your comment.